Dzień dobry, witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie. Moim gościem w studiu, pierwszym w wywiadzie na żywo jest Blanco z Argentyny. Dzisiaj porozmawiamy trochę o tańcu w wodzie, o relacji, jak to się zmienia na lądzie, jakie są zmiany w wodzie, ale to tylko wskazówka. Mamy takie założenie czasowe, żeby nie gadać dłużej niż pół godziny, ale właśnie sobie zdałem sprawę, że nie mam zegarka, więc nie mam pojęcia, jak to pójdzie. W każdym bądź razie założeniem tych wywiadów jest takie, że będziemy po prostu rozmawiać. So, hello again.
Hello.
I just said to people that we've got like some kind of time frame, half an hour, but I just realized that I have a watch.
We are in?
I don't have a watch.
Okay. They
so
can tell us maybe.
Maybe they can tell us.
Yeah.
So, Mario.
Yes.
The people already know what is happening here, so we don't go follow that. Actually, at the first, from the very beginning, I just said that we'll meet here just to talk or explore a dance, nothing else.
Okay.
So that's the idea of our meetings. I think people are quite interested, and I'm interested in that too, about the relation between the maybe differences, maybe not only relation, about the dance, movement, because we can also ask what is the dance, what is the movement, but maybe it's another topic, but about the circumstances. On the land, when we feel the gravity, like everyday life, or how it's changed, and what we can experience from that when you go into a water or maybe even underwater.
Yeah. So I will say maybe I'm screaming, I don't know, but I will do my best to be listened there. So first I want to say that gravity is overly present both in water and in land. It's not that in water there is no gravity. Now the feeling is going to be different because on land we don't have the buoyancy, we don't have the push of the water in the upward direction. But even though in the water we have that push, I understand it's still possible to feel the pull of gravity. And to feel, of course it's different, but it is very much possible to feel the direction down. So,
But we feel the gravity in other way.
Yeah, in other way.
How we can use that?
I would say like this. I'm not sure that we feel gravity.
All right.
Or maybe we feel gravity, but how do we know what we feel? What we sense, what we perceive, is an integration of our sensorial world. So even though we do have a physical feeling of gravity, our sensation cannot isolate gravity in a separate feeling from other feelings. Our sensation is an integration of a lot of stimulus, different stimulus. So we can feel the gravity through the wave. We can feel it we can feel it just by lifting and activating a muscle. We can feel it also in the pull of the tissues, but we also feel it in the sense of the vestibular system. So and we also feel it as we relate with the space through our vision. So we feel it like in a multidimensional way. So it's not a simple thing. And then when we go to the water, this reality changes. So gravity is still there, and the perception of gravity is still there, but the pulling of the tissues in the down direction, maybe it's not there. The vestibular system, maybe it's not working in the same way. The visual cues, the visual orientation, maybe it's not working in the same way. Still, we can feel down.
So that's
Maybe
the way
we feel it.
perceive of the gravity.
I think so, and I think we perceive it in the water maybe more from an internal feeling, and this is from my experience, from my perception of myself. I think it comes more from the gut feeling, from an organic feeling.
All right.
Just to bring more confusion to it, or more clarity.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I would like to ask you.
One of the ways we can understand gravity is by the quality of tone in the muscles. So, and this is like experiential history that I have. It's a memory that I have.
Yeah.
So I know where my arm is, right, in relation to my shoulder, because I know this feeling. I have a memory of this feeling. I know how it looks like. I can track it with my other arm. So I understand where my arm is. And even if I'm not looking at it,
You already know.
even if I'm not looking at it, because I can be looking there, but this has a history in my body experience. So I don't look it, but I look it in the past. I know what it is. It's here. Yeah, I can touch my ear, no problem. Touch my nose, no problem. Now, when I am in the water, I don't need the same tonics to do this.
All right.
It's a different quality of tonics, because the water will not allow my arm to go down in the same way.
So one of the things is like a different sensation of gravity, and the other thing is like some kind of resistance of the water.
Yes, a different quality on the proprioception. It's a different quality. So it's not always clear. It's not always clear how my body is in space, in the water space. In land, more or less, we have a very well developed idea and perception, and we can recognize, unless we are drunk, and then we cannot do all these tests. It's a possibility. Gravity
It's
is
still
still
good
there.
to try in this test.
You can
Anyway.
try. Yeah. So in the water, it's not like you are drunk, but the outside environment creates a different pattern of information. So it's something to develop. It's like it's another history to write in your body, and also it takes a lot of checking.
But when you said the history, you're talking about the patterns, which we already connect with this body memory.
Yes, like patterns of perception, I would say. Patterns of perception. So yeah, exactly.
I just ask. I hope everything you hear good. If yes, you can just wave. I see some people waving.
Okay.
That's nice. Okay, but I am the fan of simplicity, and maybe for some of people out there, it will be some kind of useful and somehow helpful to understand that, because I already have got some experience in the water. Because on a festival we did like intensities on the land and intensities in the water. So I feel that I can understand it more because I already got some kind of this experience. But let's say let's try to understand people and see from the point of view of people who don't have this kind of experience. We can quite use. I think that it's quite simple for us to understand what is dance. I mean, even when we try to image in our mind how the dance can look like. But when you think about the same idea, about the movement, I mean dance, in the water, we can quite easily understand the idea of how to swim, how to flow on the surface, but how to dance.
Yes. So,
Or what is the dance in water?
hello.
Hello!
Okay.
That was Manos.
That's live TV.
That's live TV. That's Manos, who for sure in a few minutes will play on the flute.
So, well, I like this. Yes, we can understand what is dance, and we can have very different ideas of what is dance. Yeah. So I like this maybe development of the idea of dance when it starts to appear the understanding that walking can be a dance, and standing can be a dance, and so it maybe starts to overlap more than in the past, dance with movement, and dance even with mundane movements, with movements that are even in the daylight. Somehow following this idea, I understand dance like
we've got like waves are pretty
loud.
Oh,
you need me more loud.
All right.
Okay, maybe I come even closer.
Thank you, Maciej.
So, dance maybe as a particular embodiment of movement, as a particular awareness of movement, an embodiment of also other things that are maybe more an integration of mind, emotions. I would say about dance like that. Then in the water, the usual way to approach is like either we have to survive, or either we have to maybe compete in a sport way, or a training swimming, but the embodiment of the human self in water is not usually explored. It's not kids play with it. Kids play. If you take a kid to the pool, he will play. He will not swim. He will play in the water. He will play. He will explore his body. He will explore movement. He will do random actions that we start to, like, as we grow up, we start to kind of inhibit from doing. Dancing in water can be that. I will say that since we still have these adult tags on us, that we name ourselves as adults, we also kind of live this play a bit in the inhibition, even though it becomes more available. But we do have a very, very intense, at least as dancers, a very intense interest through movement and movement exploration. And water gives us another dimension for that. It gives it's like another material. It's like painting with on a different paper, on a different canvas. Even with different...
This is nice. I mean, I already can see that image, and I can just try to use my imagination to feel that.
And then it's like, I think it's with other arts. You can, of course, you can specialize and enjoy painting with all your painters. But maybe you also try to paint with other ones, and you can inform your other, you can, it's like, it's somehow the same. But we choose materials, we choose canvas, but we can paint one, we can paint the other.
I'll just start thinking about the idea of training. I mean, of course we can use the paper, we can use other layer just to express ourselves, but still it can be like some kind of environmental training.
Yes, absolutely agree.
For example, I've got like not so much experience underwater, in the water. Most of my life training was on the land, with playing with this gravity, and even for now it's like a huge topic still to understand that.
Yes.
But actually I realized something even better about playing on the land when I experienced some exercises in the water. So I try to figure out about it, not figure out, but start thinking about it, that it's like making your perception even wider to understand in a global way what the training can be. Because whatever you do on the land or in the water, you play with your body.
Yes. and you get different informations. And
Exactly.
the other thing that it's interesting for me is that we are also creatures of water. We are creatures of land. Maybe
Say
we are
something
mainly
more about
creatures
that.
of land, but we are also creatures of water. It's many things. We have adaptations. We have physiological adaptations to go into the water, to move in the water, and to some extent to thrive in the water. It's not that, of course, when we don't have the experience and we get to the water, it's awkward. It's not easy. It can be challenging. But we have in our organism, we have the possibility. It's an open window for us to go through the water. Now that takes a lot of deconditioning, because there can be many fears associated with water, and there often are many fears associated with water, and usually fears are like a step over. They are not addressed. So when you see how like swimming schools or how people is introduced into water, many times is through, okay, so you have this fear, so now we are going to challenge it.
Yeah.
So now you're going to learn to swim, and you go and swim, and you see you survive.
But it's a good way. How you think? I mean, how is your personal perception on that idea?
I see it also because I'm a free diver, and this is very present in free diving world. I see that somehow fears can be like postponed, right? So you have fear, and instead of acknowledging that fear and finding the comfort there and learning how to stay with that and let it go and finding safety there, you challenge yourself and you push forward. I see it as postponing. It's like, by that way, it's not like I let's say, befriend myself with water and find myself comfortable in the water. It's more like, maybe now I can swim a bit more without freaking out, without freezing myself.
But it's something different when you're challenging yourself, and something different when you take a step by step.
It is the first thing, but it's not also about step by step. It's about giving a space for that.
How to do that? I mean, let's imagine that. I mean, I remember my first experience with that 2 years ago on this festival. I am not a good swimmer. Actually, I am not a swimmer. I mean, I wasn't. But now I feel totally different in the water, and I can find a peace, of course, with a lot of respect, because I can see that ocean, he can swallow me like that. But there is a different state of my mind. But have you got some kind of hints, maybe clues, how to do these first steps? If somebody is really afraid of the water, maybe the dance approach to be more friend with the water can help somehow.
So the swim approach is a bit like running. You learn to swim, you learn to go through. I would say that first you need to learn to float. And learn to float doesn't mean to learn to do the physical action of floating. But it's more about learning to be in the water without the idea or without the task that you have to go somewhere, or you have to reach some place, or you have to just being in the water,
so
and
just
getting
like
comfort there.
Just like on the land, when before you start running, first to see how to stand on your legs.
Just like we do in contact improvisation, we do the stand.
Yeah.
We learn just to stay, and there is a lot of information there, and there is a lot of safety there.
How it works in the water? I mean, this first step, because on the land we can understand that, like, I think so.
I don't think it works in a certain way. I think it every person will have its own fears or not, or comfort, whatever. But the experience is different for everyone. So I cannot say that it works in this way or in that way, and it takes time. I think the main thing is for the individual to understand that there is control in what I'm doing, like in what I'm doing as not the teacher doing, but the person doing. So when you go to the water, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't push it. You stay there in the place that you feel comfortable, and you explore that place.
For example, on the shallow water?
For example, on the shallow water. In order to be more specific, it will be something like, okay, so if you are really afraid of water, first, we don't even start floating. First, let's just, get wet. Let's just walk into the water and stay there. And because also that can be very new. Entering in the sea, like now we live in this world that we kind of, most of us visit so many places, so but the sea can be new, can be a new place. The possibilities of doing things in the sea can be very new. And there are many possibilities of things you can do in the sea. Like you can dance, you can freedive, you can swim long distances. It's like a lot of things that for many of us are like strange maybe or unusual. Maybe we think that only very crazy people, strange people will do that. It's not like that. It's like freediving, for instance, is like before I started in that practice, for me it was like kind of also like heroic practice, like something very strange people will do. But then when you start doing it, it's like, oh, yeah.
It's like walking.
It's like walking. It's very interesting, but yeah, okay, just I decide to put time into this, and then by putting time, by doing it, something develops. But before I even try it, it's like, whoa, now I don't have so much of those perceptions, but I understand that those are a commonplace. To have a perception that something is strange, is like unusual. And I understand that for many people, water and being in water is unusual. Maybe swimming is usual, going to a pool and going one side, the other side, or in the sea, or take a plunge in the sea and coming out. But being in the water, which means like really, really going inside and feeling how does it feel to be floating, how does it feel to be moved by the waves, how does it feel to sink down, how does it feel to breathe in, how does it feel to breathe out. It's all different. It's all so I think it's by exploring.
That brings me like two ideas. You said that try to be in the water, and one of the masters of everything in the world, I mean, this is my really personal approach. Exactly, Bruce Lee used to say, be water, my friend. Be water. And actually I connect this very much because being in the water, it's like more about understanding what is the water. I mean, what does it mean be the water? For me, it's like really accept everything what is happening. For example, in a safety place, like on the shallow water, because like that was my first steps. On the shallow water, I just feel comfortable quite fast. And now actually I like do this until the moment the sun burns too much on the skin. But like understanding how the water really relaxes the body. If we relaxed, how the water will move your body. Actually, that's what I perceive as a dance.
Yes.
So the difference for me is like not when I'm trying to do something, like on the land, in the case of the dance. I will do this, maybe do this, and then maybe you will perceive it as a dance. So for me, like the difference is maybe because I'm so beginner, like when I try to understand how WaterDance me.
Yes, yes, I do. And I think you learn a lot from the water itself.
Yeah.
If you get that attention, if you get to that state of attention, water teaches you a lot. Makes movement available. But with tension maybe we cannot explore. Yeah, water is teacher. And I think we become more water by being in the water. Right? It's soften us. That's also a challenge. That's also a challenge. That's also a challenge in the sense that being in the water also is pretty softening. And then when you come out, it's important to get back your structure and root again. And it's like going to the space for the astronauts. And when they come back from the space, they have to. It's not about muscle power. They might lose muscle power, but it's a
different
relevant
sense of gravity
yeah.
also. Yeah?
And all the state change, and they need time to recover. But we are very interested with human beings, and the more travels they do out of the space, the less time they need to recover when they come back. And the change is radical. There are like some records, history about this from the same astronauts. That is like the first trip, they go maybe 1 week in the space. They need 10 days, 15 days to adjust to Earth again. Second trip, maybe they go 10 days, they need 5 days to readjust. Third time, they go maybe 15 days, they come back, same day they are working. It's
so
like...
You're trying to say that it's the same like with the water? Like when you...
I think so, yeah.
When you're from being in the water going to be the water?
I think so. I think you understand your body, not you. It's not a mental process, but I think not a even conscious process. I think by the fact of accepting the water, being there and coming back, and being and coming back, the adaptation is like more. It's more active. And you go, you come out, and
all right.
So you're ready for more. And the other thing that I was listening to you and I was thinking is interesting is that I don't think there are teachers. I don't think there is someone who can teach how to be in the water. Here...
How about the water?
The water itself, yeah, absolutely. But on land, we have a lot of movement teachers, and it's like we can go to, teach me, how do I do this, how do I do that, and it's true that some people have so much knowledge, so much wisdom, and they can really teach us, and
maybe this wisdom and knowledge is just the experience.
It is, but we have this resource, but we don't have that in water. We have people who knows how to swim, they can teach us to swim. We know people who know how to dive, they can teach us to dive. But how to be, how to sense your body in the water is a self-discovery. And I
that's the beauty of it.
I smile about that. I just smile about that. Just like anyone going to the water, spending 10 minutes in the water can discover so many things. Maybe it's not easy to make it rational. It's not easy to get like rational explanation about, but if you connect with the sensations, you come out full of information. Then okay, integration is another step, but you get a lot from there. So it's very new, even for us. I will not say your age.
How about your age?
40. Even for us, 40 years.
Or more.
Or more. Like
we're still alive, come on.
We still don't know so much about being on land. We do our best, but we still don't know so much. But about water, we are really babies. We are really babies. And even if we know how to swim, we know how to do things, we really lack experience time in the water. So I encourage you all to do it.
So, go to the water, be in the water, be water.
Be water.
Alright.
There are waves there.
You don't see that, but actually we said about the time frame. I just realized that we've got a better time frame than a clock. We've got the sunset, and the sun just almost disappeared. So I think it's a time to slowly finish. Today is like a really strong wind, so I hope that everything was like clear for you. Thank you, Mario, very much. Hope to see you again. Hope to see you in the water.
Thai salutation.
Thai salutation. I will just say something more about the next idea. In the next 2 days, there will be no some kind of live, because we are going into a silence, which is like also really nice practice when I connected really much like being in the water. So we're going to dive like with the whole tribe into a silence for 2 days. So see you in the next week, and in the next week you see a new performance from Iwona Olszowska and Paweł Konior, and also another interview with David Leong from Hong Kong. But after 2 days of silence, I'm not sure if we will talk too much, so maybe we'll just go into a dance. See you the next week. Alright.
Aikido.
Aikido. Alright, let's do it. Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.